was written for the 1991 anniversary, 150th anniversary of the oldest continuously operating symphony orchestra in England, the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra. And the genesis of the piece is that the orchestra was anticipating its 150th anniversary a couple of years before. And like most orchestras or opera companies or festivals or whatnot, what do you do when you have a significant anniversary? You commission a new piece. Maybe something specific about that anniversary or about the organization, or maybe just some important piece of music to add to the repertoire. And the Liverpool folks had that idea. And they tossed around all sorts of good ideas of living English composers, something, very high-flying, esoteric. And then, I don't know who had the bright idea. That's been sort of lost in the mists of anecdotage, but someone said, well, why don't we ask the most famous living Liverpool musician to write a piece for us? And that, of course, is Paul McCartney. And so they approached McCartney, and he said yes. He was flabbergasted. He had one caveat. He says, I don't write. He says, I play by ear, although he can play the piano very well. There's a documentary that shows him perfectly comfortable at the keyboard, and of course also on his famous Hofner bass guitar. But he said, I'll need someone to help me put the notes down on paper. So the Liverpool folks immediately turned to a great American-born musician by the name of Carl Davis. Carl had spent most of his life working in the UK and Europe, and he was the perfect partner for Paul, because deeply lettered musician, a composer himself, an arranger himself, a fabulous conductor. And so they sat together for weeks and months on end, Paul coming up with musical ideas and Carl turning them into something that an orchestra could play, or an opera singer could sing, or a choruses could sing. Sadly, we lost Carl. He died very unexpectedly just last summer. I had the great good fortune of spending an entire day with him a year ago in May. And we went through the score page by page, so I could understand what he and Paul McCartney were getting at in the beginning. So Liverpool Oratorio had its debut in 1991. It was recorded live on CD, and it sold 17 million copies. But about 5 or 6 years after the premiere, in the mid-90s, it sort of started to fall from view. Other pieces came and took its place. McCartney moved on and continued his touring. He didn't write anything. He didn't write a sequel. In other words, he didn't write the second Liverpool Oratorio. So it got performed a lot when it was brand new as an oratorio, meaning a piece, think of Handel's Messiah. So everyone's on the stage, chorus, soloists, orchestra. They tell a story through music. But the difference between, let's say, something like Messiah, which has been staged, not always successfully, and the Liverpool Oratorio is that when I began to study the score, I said, this is an opera. It's got a story, it's got characters, it's got situations, it's got lots of wonderful music that lends itself to transitions and to dance, equally importantly. And so we decided to approach Paul McCartney for the permission to actually stage it. And he said yes right away. I don't say, I exaggerate a little bit when I say the email hadn't even cleared his inbox before his publisher wrote back, but it was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. And so that's how it came to be. This is the world premiere staging of a major symphonic choral work of endless musical invention, beautiful melodies, rich choral writing, deft orchestration, and a very sweet story.